When we were praying about moving to Burlington, there were several things that really drew us here. Number one is just the incredible spiritual need. You know, less than 3% of the population here would be characterized as evangelical Christians. And the city really had a reputation of being a graveyard for church plants. I mean, the average shelf life of a church plant here is usually about 3 years. And so, you know, that was one of the things we just said, you know, this is a tough place. And we're committed to having a marathon mentality. And so this is the kind of place we could see God sending us. So the second thing is we had spent about 6 years in urban New Jersey. And we felt like that Burlington really kind of mirrored that. And so the lessons we learned in New Jersey actually really translated really well to Burlington. But the last thing is we really believed we could enjoy just doing life in Burlington. I mean, despite the fact that it is kind of like a crazy progressive city in some ways, we really love it here.
This guy.
Favorite thing about Burlington?
Church Street, of course.
Probably say the people and the lake.
It's like Asheville, North Carolina, where I live, and I love it.
Paddleboarding on Lake Champlain.
The food, the shopping, and the quaintness of the area.
The mountains. I love hiking the mountains, the long trail.
My favorite thing about Burlington is this is my home now. This is where my wife and I live. This is where we're raising our kids. And we care about this community because it's home for us. Yeah, dude, I'm really biased, but this is like the best coffee shop in Burlington. Welcome to Burlington. My name's Kevin Pounds. I'm pastor of Burlington City Church. Me and my family moved here in November of 2011 to plant this church, and so we're still in the embryonic stages right now. But Burlington is such a wonderful place to live and do ministry, especially if you love 3 or 4 foot of snow in the winter.
It's cold in the winter, but we have snowboarding and skiing, and it's really fun. People probably would miss this, that you can cross-country ski to work on days when it snows a lot, and that's really fun.
This city of almost 45,000 people is one of the least church cities, one of the least Bible-minded cities in the United States. And there's probably around 16,000 college students that come to this area every year to go to school. One thing that a lot of people in Vermont don't know is that there's a growing influx of refugees from around the world that are moving here from all over the world, places like Vietnam, Sudan, Bhutan, Burma, Burundi, some places you've heard of, some places you've never heard of before, and they call this place home. And Burlington also happens to be a very progressive place, politically and spiritually. We're the 5th state to legalize gay marriage. This last year, the city of Burlington just legalized marijuana, at least recreational marijuana. And so it really is kind of just an anything goes kind of culture. And the third thing that really stood out to us is we just really knew we could enjoy doing life here. We love being outside. I love hiking and biking and snowshoeing and stuff like that. We love interacting with people from different cultures. And also, we really even enjoy the fact that we get to build friendships and share Jesus with people that's a whole new thing for, even if they're people that would normally be turned off by the church. And so, you know, that's everything from our duplex neighbors to our the refugees that moved into the community, to everything from like college students to young single professionals to lesbian couples to Bhutanese families. Those are the people that have become our friends and who God's opened the door for us to begin sharing Jesus with. And some people will look at that and think, wow, that's a really challenging place. But it's a place that you can really look at and go, hey, this would be worth spending my life here to see what God could do. We've seen over and over again that when we have a group of believers that are willing to live on mission together in a neighborhood and to begin to build relationships with their neighbors and begin to serve their neighbors and begin just to live out the good news of Jesus in a very practical way, that they also earn the right to share Jesus verbally with their neighbors. And that's where we've really seen people begin to follow Jesus, is in the context of these groups meeting together and living together and serving together in the same neighborhood. And after a while, people begin to see the difference that Jesus makes, and they're also willing to listen to the difference that Jesus makes in our lives.